Mario Kart World has 30 tracks, but there are so many shortcuts and strategies to learn that we are covering 100 in total. And we even left out all the off-road mushroom shortcuts to keep things interesting. So without further ado, we are gonna rapid fire through every track and comment below if you learned any new shortcuts today. First up, Airship Fortress. This first shortcut is extremely important to learn. You just hop on the left rail at the beginning and then use your trick boost to propel yourself to the right rail. Keep on spamming extra tricks. You can even get a right trick on the red rail and a neutral trick to get off the rail. And then this shortcut is so cool because it also combos with the very ending shortcut, so you don't have to get on the rail the normal way. You can just do a charge jump with a mushroom, clear the off-road gap, and bam, you're on the rail just like that. For Shy Guy Bazaar, it's very similar to Airship Fortress. This beginning rail is so important that everyone goes for it, and you have to learn this strategy to be able to get breakaways. In fact, people will do this shortcut 3 times in a race to be able to win by miles if there's no blue shell. And then there is a faster version for this shortcut, although I wasn't even gonna include it in the video here, but I did see Kusan do it online in a race, so I was like, you know what, maybe I should include this because this might be the future of the track. People might be going for this faster variant to save even more time if people can perfect it. But this version is way more difficult and I would say not necessary to learn currently. The last shortcut is the feather cut here. You can cut this corner very tight by using a feather, and then you throw in a couple extra right tricks, and you can also do a left trick onto the rope there and then follow the wall here to take a completely different path than your competitors down below. I really don't have anything on Desert Hills except this feather shortcut, which is just doing the world record cut, but making it easier with a feather to be able to ride the waterfall and then finish in the water at the end of the level. Bowser's Castle. Here is the single most important shortcut in Mario Kart World. You have to learn this. You just switch from wall to wall and then bounce off the side and keep spamming left tricks in the air. It is one of these shortcuts that looks inconsistent, but trust me, once you get it down, you'll start making it every single time. Easiest way to do this shortcut is with a feather. Just click the button and then make sure you trick 1 extra time in the air to get a boost when you land. Now here's the world record method of this shortcut, and as you can see, it's quite a bit more difficult, although it is faster, and sometimes you don't get up to the railing up top, or people trap it with bananas, so it's good to know that backup method as well. This shortcut here, just as important honestly as the first shortcut. People are doing this every single lap, every single race at the highest level. It is one of these shortcuts that you have to learn to play this game online. Here is a backup route that honestly is even more difficult than the other shortcuts, but it's funny because, I mean, it's faster than the main route, but nobody really does this because the other shortcut has just made it obsolete. And then here is the world record strategy that I never see anyone go for online, but who knows, maybe one day people will be going for it, so we'll include it in the video. Here's the charge jump method, which I think it's easiest to do it with the mushroom. I never like going for that shroomless, so if I have a mushroom, that's a pretty good alternative for the shortcut. And then there's a 2 mushroom shortcut here that you can do if you don't want to do the wall ride with the right spam tricks. Warriio Stadium has so much going for it. At the beginning, you can left trick between the gap right there after you're on the rail, and then do your fun little sequence here of spamming tricks. And you can even do a left trick to cut a little more than I cut here, but I like this safe method, works for me every single time and still is really fast. This is a must-learn shortcut. It's very similar to Shy Guy Bazaar and Airship Fortress. Here is the single most important coin in the game. You get that coin, you get a little speed boost propelling you forward, and you're able to do that shortcut shroomless. I cannot believe that's possible shroomless to begin with. And then you have a feather cut here. You might have to do a little brake drifting to get your necessary angle to make the feather cut optimal. I really don't know anything on Mario Bros Circuit that people are doing online that has any degree of difficulty aside from this feather shortcut here at the beginning, and then, you know, trick off the rail and then executing Blue Main Turbo onto the next rail. Whistle Stop Summit has so many difficult shortcuts. Starting off here is the railroad detach into the wall ride, and then rejoin the railroad here at the end. Enemy goes for this online, although most people do not. This shortcut, however, is the most common. Everyone goes for this double wall ride off-road skip. Extremely important. You'll see at least 10 people going for that every single race. And then this shortcut here, people are learning how to do consistently. One of the most important shortcuts in Mario Kart World. Saves over 2 seconds shroomless. Be sure to practice this one. People are getting better at this one. People are making it more consistently. And then you can also do it with a feather. So if you're having difficulty, you know, you're front running, you pull the feather, you can just detach off the wall right there, then use the feather before you lose your height, and you can make it for free. Now, this last shortcut, also extremely important. You get a bullet bill, you can cut the entire gap. Just be sure to trick and use the bullet bill once again before you get too low. and then it'll take you all the way to the end of the level. If you have mushrooms, a star, a mega, whatever after your bullet bill, you can do the ending shortcut as well and shave even more time. Dry Bones Burnout has so many shortcuts. I would say this one is the most important here. Just be sure to land on this platform and then trick off it, land in a left drift, and use your blue boost to trick off the last ramp to the end of the level. Now this golden strategy, completely broken. Just cannot believe you can even go over here. It allows you to cut this corner as well. So if you have mushrooms, a mega, a star, any sort of speed item, even the ghost afterwards, you can cut this big shortcut here at the end, which is key since the race is over after that. Now, the feather is really interesting on this track. I'll show two different methods here doing essentially the same thing. This first one here, I find to be more difficult and you're rejoining on the bottom route, but then look at this top route here. You don't actually ride that rail, that green vine, you just take the top route and there's a glider ramp, and then you'll have your own set of item boxes and you'll be away from all the competitors down below. I think this one's really useful. Toad's Factory doesn't have much, but I do really like this shortcut here at the end, riding the steel beam shroomless. And then I learned from JP Givener you can actually ride these red rails, and this is so much faster, a cool little optimization, and really makes the shortcut feel special. Choco Mountain definitely has some interesting ones. An orange main turbo into this slanted wall will actually give you more height. This is a really fast way of doing it, and you can clear this mud with only one mushroom. If you don't like that method, here's an alternative. They're practically the same, but you can do the charge jump variant here, and it's the exact same shortcut, just might work out a little bit better for you. So yeah, you just ride this yellow rail here at the end, and then if you have mushrooms in a bullet bill or a star in a bullet bill, this is one of the most busted bullet bill strategies in the game. I mean, it'll jump the curb there. You can even cut more than I cut. And then this shortcut here is an orange main turbo plus a hop, just like how the world record does it. For Crown City, there is a shroomless shortcut. If you're front running, you can actually skip the first part of the S-bend by charge jumping into the tree, but the most important shortcut of the level is another charge jump shortcut. And then if you throw in extra tricks here, you can even go off the lamppost and the tree and land on the tippy top, although I don't recommend that. That's a little more ambitious than you need to be because things can go wrong. You can get counted out of bounds, but there are extra rails at the end. And then of course there is the feather shortcut as well. DK Spaceport, people like to full send this shortcut at the beginning here. You will clip the edge upon landing more often than not. Very difficult. This one, however, much easier. Every single person in the room will go for that gap jump. Easiest gap jump in the game. And then for the feather, you can cut every single U-turn, but I really like cutting the ones where you can cut even more of the track past the grass, just like that one. Acorn Heights is one of the most satisfying tracks in the game for shortcuts. Ride the wall low, shake trick, and shake trick again to do the shortcut shroomless here. Skip the mud altogether. Now there is an easier way to do this one. You have to ride down below, do a charge jump, ride the wall, bounce off the post, then ride the wall inside the shortcut, just like the last one. Trust me, it is easier than the first one, but if you want the easiest way to do this shortcut, it is with a feather. Charge jump, feather, wall ride. Once again, all these methods are extremely helpful. As for the vine shortcut, skip the third vine by using a mushroom and then land between the divider. It does not count you out of bounds, which is very surprising, honestly. And then if you have a golden mushroom, just smash through the crate, do the first shortcut, skip the first vine, go for the second vine, and then catapult yourself all the way to the finish line. Incredibly useful way to cheese a victory. And then the final strategy here is very similar. It's just the same exact thing, shroomless. Use your trick boost, then propel yourself forward, and then use the bullet bill, and it'll last a very long time. It'll wrap you all the way around this corner at the very beginning if you're not on lap 3, of course. Mario Circuit has so many shortcuts. We're just gonna show 2 of them. This off-road cut, extremely important. Release the orange main turbo cut inside the pipes, land on the rail here, of course. And then this ending cut is a feather shortcut where you can land on top this red platform and then still hit the booster at the end. So those are the most important ones for Mario Circuit, I would say. Moo Moo Meadows had a glow up in this game compared to 8 Deluxe and Wii. The charge jump tree trick is so busted. You have to learn that one. Most important one of the track. I also said we wouldn't be showing off-road shortcuts, but if you do a charge jump middle of the off-road here, you're able to cut a lot more. So I wanted to include that regardless. There is the cow bounce. And you could just do this shroomless, which is weird. You could just drift in the grass there and then rejoin the track at the double item box. And then of course we have the golden mushroom strategy. Be sure to tree bounce, and then none of this is counted out of bounds. Very surprising. I never imagined that wouldn't be out of bounds. Like, what is Moon Meadows in this game? Now we have Peach Stadium. If you have a bullet bill, I think this is the only purpose of this little mini rail there. I never could find the purpose of that mini rail, but it does have a purpose to do the beginning shortcut with a bullet bill. And then of course you have the feather shortcut that Nintendo demonstrated for us before the game came out. That's all for Peach Stadium. Oh, we got Koopa Troopa Beach, everyone's favorite track. Charge jump, mushroom, and then spring over to the other side. Extremely useful, that's the only thing to learn here. Boost Cinema has a lot of recent discoveries. This one is the most important. You can trick off the dirt, and if you have 2 mushrooms, you can smash through the fence there. Although if you only have 1 mushroom, I would say it's not worth it because that fence can really slow you down. This is a little bullet bill strategy. I mean, for the ending of the race, lap 3, pretty good. It'll lead you right to the finish line. I discovered this feather shortcut. I just can't really find a way to make it useful except for dodging red shells. The reds don't follow you up here, but I found that you can land on this reel up here. Like, how crazy is this? This is not out of bounds. I always expected this just to be a free roam thing, not actually useful in races. But yeah, there's a couple different ways you can exit after spamming left tricks. You could do a neutral trick or a right trick to be able to rejoin the track. I only know of one thing for Dandelion depths, but it's the feather shortcut. Just be sure to trick off the edge, use your feather, and you don't even have to land on the rail, because if you just land anywhere on the side of the wall, you'll rejoin with the railing, which is amazing. Cheep Cheep Falls is becoming one of my favorite tracks. At first, I thought this shortcut here was a little bit lame, this charge jump off-road cut. You can get a trick at the end, which speeds you up. It's faster than going around, which I thought was so silly, but there's all these different ways to do that shortcut, so I'm gonna demonstrate them here. I'm not really that good at this one, so I don't know how much people will be doing this online. But yes, this does not count you out of bounds, and you could even get a trick upon exiting there. There's even more optimal ways to do that strategy. And then if you have a feather, I like to go on this rock here, and then trick, and then use the feather, and then you can drift, then trick, and then even get another trick afterwards. And then this ending cut, I feel like people might start doing this. You can charge jump into this pole, and you can see how much this saves. It's pretty incredible, and not that difficult once you get the hang of it. Starting off with Away Oasis, we're gonna show the standard strategy, go off the sign, do the extra left trick, catapult into the water, bounce, and then keep getting all the extra little tricks you can, and you don't actually need to trick off this ramp. You can get less height. You won't get a coin, but it might be more useful to like get there quicker to the double item box before your competitors. And then we have the Buffalo Bounce. Look at this, you get a coin, of course, just like when you bounce off the cow. And I mean, this is extremely satisfying. The fact you can cut 2 off-road portions with only 1 mushroom. I'll show it one more time. You gotta make sure you right trick right on that little line there. And then, yeah, you gotta full send it into the crates. Gotta make sure you have enough mushroom to get through the crates. The ending shortcut with the feather, of course. One of the most important feather shortcuts in the game. You could even land on top of the wall and trick off of it to cut even a little bit more. For Dino Jungle, you may not consider this a shortcut, but adding all these little extra tricks on the low parts of the dinosaur spine, extremely important for shaving time. And then we have the short strat here where we feather and we're able to skip the giant shortcut. That's a must-learn feather strat. But yeah, you have to be sure you right trick on those exact spots right there, because that's how you go through the dinosaur section really quickly. And then it's a right trick, and then you gotta spam right tricks in the air with your feather to cut the gap. So important, must learn strat. Starview Peak doesn't have all that much, but there is this off-road shortcut where you can combo it with the charge jump, land on the rail, then neutral trick and hold left to stay on the rail, because you want to avoid the water, which is terrain surface, and you go a little bit slower, and then you just do some right barrel rolls to hit these little ring boosters in the air. And then my favorite shortcut on this level is the bullet strategy, where you can skip the corner and the bullet brings you all the way to safety on the other side. DK Pass is truly unbelievable in this game. When Mario Kart World first came out, people were doing this sign strategy, and we're very excited about that. But little did we know, DK Pass had so much more to offer, and this tree strategy was like the next development. I like to do a left trick before hitting the first tree, then I hold left as I hit the second and third tree, and then you gotta be sure to hop into the off-road to get a main turbo as you exit. The most broken shortcut, however, is this one, and what's so crazy about this wall ride shortcut is when you land in the off-road, you don't even need a mushroom, and it still saves a lot of time. And then you combo it with this strategy here off the wall. For feather strategies, I think the best is probably probably the last corner, you can cut the entire gap by releasing a main turbo and feathering simultaneously. And then for the bullet bill, this is pretty interesting. You can land on the rail, get an extra rail trick, do a right trick, spam bullet bill, and it'll cut the gap for you. And this bullet bill will last forever. It'll take you past the whole entire tunnel and past these little wraparound corners and then drop you right here. Salty Speedway is absolutely crazy. Main turbo, column bounce to skip the corner, and then air trick into the water. Second, charge jump, go off the post, use your green shell, hit the crate. You can do the ending shortcut with one single green shell. And then this waterfall cut allows you to land up top. The craziest part of this shortcut is how you main turbo, hit the side of the wall, attach to the rail, and then left trick off the rail. This leads to a double item box, multiple rail rides, and then the column bounce we talked about earlier, then air trick into the water. One of the most satisfying shortcuts in the entire game. Next up, we have a charge jump to reach the top section where the glider ramp is without having to do the wall ride wraparound. Should be faster for sure, a nice alternative. And then another charge jump shortcut here with the mushroom, very simple shortcut and saves a little bit of time rejoining the road afterwards. And then of course the feather shortcut at the end, use the feather before you exit the water, and you could trick off the flagpole, take the top route and then rejoin it with the track down below. Great Question Block Ruins has so many shortcuts, where do I even begin? Let's start with the most important one, riding this chain, then tricking off this post, and then using the trick boost to pass the ring, ride the wall, bring you to safety. And if you have a mushroom, you can cut this really tight, and that's how you truly win on this track. The backup strategy is the charge jump, where you don't take the top route, you take the left route to lead into this. You could do the same shortcut with this method. And then you have the beginning shortcut, which you could just get an orange main turbo and ride the rail and then land on the beginning of the S-bend rail, wrap around like that. That's the easiest way to do that compared to the world record strategy. Very consistent for online play. This charge jump allows you to reach the railing without even having to go to the lower section. So that's a difficult version of that, and then the easier version is going to be to charge jump and take the bottom path and join the rail after the ramp. I don't really know if this is even worth including in the video, but this is technically like the intended way to do the shortcut. I just never see anybody do this. So this is the really cool shortcut we were showcasing earlier. And that's, I guess, how Nintendo thought that people would be doing that shortcut. And then of course we have the golden mushroom bullet bill combo, where you can just golden pass the entire level, go underneath the track, and then use your bullet bill, rejoin the track. It's pretty situational to say the least, but I had to include it. It's just ridiculous that that even works to begin with. For Sky High Sunday, the most important shortcut is the wall ride at the end. The lower you get, the better. You'll be able to execute the shortcut much faster with lower air. There's a golden mushroom strat where you can charge jump to the middle, do a little bit of wall riding, keep spamming, and it's a great way to spam your golden and have space from the other 23 racers on the track. My favorite shortcut, however, on this level is this bullet bill strategy. Probably best to do on lap 1 or 2, but you can just cut the entire turn altogether. I cannot believe the bullet doesn't count you out of bounds. It's the smartest bullet bill in the game, just about. Warriio Shipyard is all about doing shortcuts to evade the water, because water is slow in this game. The palm tree bounce is incredible, and there's another way to do this shortcut I find to be a little easier but slower, which is to land up top here and then just do some air tricks to rejoin the water down below. There's a charge jump rail cut here where you just ride the rail, you get an item box, and then you're able to trick off the palm tree, use your mushroom, and then hug it really tight. You can get an extra trick, and that saves quite a bit of time. The ending shortcut, everyone does this, but you gotta watch out for bananas on the rail. And if you're not in first place, and people like to trap that shortcut, there's an alternate route here where you can water bounce, rail ride, and then bounce off the post and cut the water without losing any speed. And of course, the feather shortcut is amazing on this track because you don't skip an item box and you're able to skip the corner. The most important shortcut on Peach Beach is definitely this one right here. Plenty of items can get you through here without a mushroom. Super Horn works the easiest, I would say. There's also this feather shortcut, which leads into a rail, which makes me think this shortcut was actually intentional. And then there's a charge jump here where you can get to the top section if you don't have an item to blast through the crates. Doesn't really save that much, not too important. And last, we have Rainbow Road. The most important shortcut I would say is this one. I like to do a main turbo with a left drift and spam right air tricks to be able to clear that. And then second is definitely going to be this one right here. With mushrooms, you can cut a little bit of the off-road and rejoin the water down below. For the feather shortcuts, there's actually quite a few of them. I like to do this one right here with a charge jump, and then be sure to use an extra trick in the air to get the speed boost upon landing. If you pull a feather at the end of the level, you can go for this one. Although it's a little bit difficult, you gotta hit the boost panel afterwards to really make it worth it. And it's much easier to do this shortcut with a bullet bill. You don't have to worry about where you're landing. The bullet bill would bring you to safety. Lakitu is nowhere to be found, surprisingly. And once again, I mean, Lakitu is just taking the day off apparently, because I mean, how is this possible? How does Lakitu not grab you for this one? I don't know. Absolute madness on Rainbow Road. And then I'll just show this for fun. There is the world record strategy that I have never seen anyone do in an online race, but who knows, maybe people will start going for this online eventually, even though it's only a shortcut you can do at the very end, incredibly risky and just saves a little bit of time. If you enjoyed the bullet and feather strategies, then definitely check out Wadsm's videos here. He showcases shortcuts using the feather and bullet bill for every single course in the game, and I learned plenty of them that I used for this video today. Let me know in the comments what shortcuts did you not know about. Be sure to like and subscribe. Hope you enjoyed. Peace.